Hi guys, so I'm here with a little bit of a TBR, but instead of it being sort of monthly TBR, I've decided that I wanted to come up with kind of a list of the books that I would really like to get read at some point during 2019. I don't normally do to be read videos because I am definitely someone that if I decide what I want to read next, by the time I finish the book I'm reading, that changes. I just can't help it. I pick what I want to read by what I'm in the mood to read, so that can change. So I never like to set out rigidly, this is what I'm going to read for the month, because that will literally never happen. I'm always changing my mind. But there are some books that I would really like to at some point get to read in 2019. So yeah, throughout the year, these are some of the books that I would like to definitely get read at some point if I can. I'd like to commit to reading definitely at least half of these, but again, you can never tell. But they are books that I look at on my shelf and I think I really want to read that. So they're a mixture of books between ones that are maybe ones that have been on my shelf for ages that I would like to get read, ones that I was really excited about before they came out, that kind of thing, that I just haven't got them read. So I'll go through them. So the first book is Star Wars Leia by Claudia Gray. I was really excited for this, and Daniel from Book Disorders sent it to me for Christmas, not the Christmas just gone, but the Christmas before, and I'm really excited for it. I love the cover to it. I am a Star Wars fan, particularly the sort of original trilogy is my favourite, so I am intrigued to read this. I've just not got to it, and I don't really know why, but this is sort of set at the time when Princess Leia is 16, so I am very intrigued by this and would really like to get it read at some point this year if I can. Another one, actually, I think that did Daniel send me this? I think he might have done, is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. I have the sequel to this on my shelf as well. Really intrigued by this. I think it's like a fantasy, and I think it's got magic involved in it, wizardry. I'm not sure if Daniel sent me this one or if he sent me the sequel. I can't remember. But I really am intrigued by it, and I look at it on my shelf all the time and I think, why haven't I read that yet? Because the way of the synopsis reminds me of maybe the Night Circus, with, you know, the battle between two wizards or magicians, but it kind of reminds me like it's set in sort of like a Russian type setting. But yeah, I would like to get that read just to appease my own curiosity. I would really like to get Mine Till Midnight by Lisa Kleypas read at some point this year. I'm very hopeful that I could get this read sometime this year because, as you guys know, I love Lisa Kleypas. This is the first book in a series by her, The Hathaways, that I haven't read. So I have the whole series of this just waiting to be read, but I keep holding off because I'm worried that once I read this one, I will just binge read all of them one after the other. But that's definitely a book that I would like to read this year because, like I say, it's a series of hers I haven't read and she is one of my favourite authors. I'd like to read The Land of Stories Worlds Collide by Chris Colfer. This is the final book in the Land of Stories series, and this is definitely a book I have put off reading because I love The Land of Stories and I just kind of don't want it to end because it's such a fun middle grade type series, just light and fun, and it's a series where each year I was waiting for the book to come out and I would read it pretty soon after it coming out. This would definitely be the exception because it's the last book, and I've just been like, I don't know, just putting it off because I don't want it to end, but I don't want to put it off forever because, like I say, it is a series I enjoy, so I should read this because I know I'm going to enjoy it. So yeah, I want to read that this year. I also want to read Catwoman this year by Sarah J Maas. You guys know I love Sarah J Maas's Throne of Glass series, and this is a bit of a different book for her, I think, because it's as far as I'm aware, it's a standalone. A few authors have written books for the DC world, so I know someone's done a Wonder Woman one, and I think someone did is it a Batman one? But Sarah J Maas got Catwoman. It did come out last year, so it's not like I've had it on my shelf for a long time, but it is one that I would like to get read this year, so it's not sat on my shelf, you know, forever and a day. Another book I want to try and get read is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is definitely one I keep putting off, not because it's huge, although that probably has something to do with it, but I love the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor, and I've just been a little bit anxious to pick this one up because I'm worried, you know, Daughter of Smoke and Bone is one of my favourite series of just all time, and obviously delving into something new by her, I'm a little bit, you know, but the sequel to this is now out as well, which I own, so I do think once I start it, Laini Taylor's writing style is very beautiful and almost lyrical, or at least it was in Daughter of Smoke and Bone. It was just beautiful and I loved every second of it. So I do think that her writing will definitely captivate me again. So I do want to read that this year. I'd also like to read Still Me by JJ Moyes. This is the third book in the Me Before You series. I still have doubts as to whether I think that there should have been a book after Me Before You. I did enjoy After You, but I don't know, part of me feels like that book should have just been on its own. So yeah, I'm not sure. You know, I have half and half feelings about that, but I would like to read this as it is, you know, the third instalment, and see what else is in store for Lou. She is a fantastic character, and even if I feel like she could have been left in Me Before You, I would still like to see more of her because she is what makes the books, I think. So if there had to be sequels, I'm glad, obviously. Lou is still Lou, but I am intrigued to see what happens to her, particularly after the end of After You, so I am intrigued by that. I'm also considering picking up Voyager by Diana Gabaldon this year. This is the third book in the Outlander series of books, and these I definitely put off reading because of the size of them. They take so much time to read, but it's been over a year since I read Dragonfly and Amber, so I really should get my act together and at least read Voyager this year if I can. Would also like to get read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I'd pre-ordered this because obviously I've read John Green's books, but I was intrigued to see what Hank Green could come up with, but I'm sad to say I actually haven't read this yet, and I would like to read it this year so that it's not, you know, another year that it's sat on my shelf. I would like to, you know, get it read. And then the last book in my 2019 TBR pile is Bane and Shadow by John Scovron. The first book in this was Shadow and Red, and I loved that book. It was quite a big fantasy novel. I mean, because I had an arc of it, whereas this is like a mass market paperback, like for the sequel. But when I read the first book, it was quite chunky. It was a fantasy novel, and I picked it up kind of on a whim, and I devoured it. I absolutely loved it. I was obsessed with it. But I haven't picked up the sequel. I can't even remember when this came out. I don't even know if the third book is out now. Like, literally, it's been such a long time, but I absolutely adored the first book, so I really don't know what stopped me picking this one up. There should be no reason, because I loved the first one, and the way it ended was very cliffhangery, so I should have like picked this one up as soon as I got it, but I didn't, and I really don't know why, but I would like to get that read. So of course there would be other books that I want to read this year. There'll be books coming out this year that I want to read, but these are the books that are on my shelf at the moment that I really would like to make some inroads in, definitely trying to get all of these read, if not some of them. These are definitely books that I'd like to get read this year. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments down below, have you read any of these books yourselves? Which books do you think I should get to first? What books are on your to be read list for this year? I would always love to know, and you can always add some to my reading list. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Happy reading.